things aren't gonna break.
We shall hope so.
I mean, we only have another hour anyway. Whether or not
An hour was taken out by technical difficulties.
Yep, and other things. Okay. You were in the middle of reading this, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Good.
Okay.
I think we're all right. Yeah.
U.S. senators reach an agreement on Monday, legislation imposing new sanctions on Russia, including a provision that would prevent the White House from easing, suspending, or ending sanctions without congressional approval. The agreement, to be filed as an amendment to the Iran sanctions bill, intended to punish Russia over issues including its alleged meddling in the 2016 U.S. election, the annexation of Ukraine's Crimea region, and support for the government of Syria in the country's 6-year-long civil war.
What's up with that L1N1J41LS? It's supposed to be like lead speak or something?
I don't know.
Mm.
It's just in there.
Huh.
Who knows?
Maybe it's somebody's weird moniker for their thing.
Possibly. The Iran bill is due to come up for a vote as soon as this week. Besides the provision setting up a process for Congress to review changes in sanctions, the measure would also put into law sanctions previously established via presidential executive order, including some on certain Russian energy projects and debt financing in some industries. It would impose new sanctions on Russians found to be guilty of human rights abuses, supplying weapons to Syria's government, and conducting cyber attacks on behalf of Russia's government, among others. The measure would also allow new sanctions on Russian mining, metals, shipping, and railways. The legislation is backed by both Republicans and Democrats and is expected to pass easily the Senate. It was introduced...
So you butchered that a little bit. Expected to easily pass the Senate. No, expected to pass easily the Senate. It's fine.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
It was introduced amid an intense focus in the U.S. Capitol on relations with Russia and investigations by the Department of Justice and congressional committees of whether Russia sought to influence the U.S. 2016 elections to help elect Republican President Donald Trump, and whether Trump associates colluded with Moscow as it sought to influence the election. To become law, the legislation would have to pass the House of Representatives and be signed into law by Trump. If Trump objected, some of its backers said they expected enough congressional support to override a veto. This is big, people. This is big. Because what that means is his own party doesn't trust him with Russia. Clearly. I mean, that said something huge about the current Republican Party when their man in power isn't even somebody they support. That's very interesting to see. Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
If it would load. Mm-hmm. See, I got that nice glow to it to give it a bit more contrast.
Yeah.
Let's see, how does it look on the other one?
So see, that picture is, it's raining death, hallelujah, it's raining death. That's basically how that goes.
Yeah.
It's still fucking hilarious, though.
I'll keep it in both.
Do what?
Because I'm going to keep them both.
Tell them to send you both.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, okay. It's hilarious. So it's 5 for viewers. Weird.
That's all.
I'm not.
As I was saying. Yep. These additional sanctions will send a powerful and bipartisan statement to Russia and any other country that might try to interfere in our elections that they will be punished. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said in a statement, Russia has denied attempting to interfere in the U.S. election, and Trump has dismissed any talk of collusion, of course. The measure also authorizes robust assistance to strengthen democratic institutions and counter disinformation in European countries that might be targeted by what the legislation sponsors describe as Russian aggression. In December, the final full month of President Barack Obama's administration, Washington sanctioned Russian businessmen and companies for Moscow's role in the Ukraine via executive order. Anyways, continuing on.
U.S. companies warned nightmare cyberweapon already causing blackouts. Oh, interesting. I would have to deal with this. The first hack was small, cutting power to part of Kiev. Security experts now warn that was just the start. The malware is a genuine cyber weapon that threatens the U.S. Oh yeah, so on the topic, that would have been one of those things I had to worry about. I would have had to get a certification for the Energy Regulatory Commission. And I would have actually had, I think, a security level. I would have to. There's something flying around you.
I know.
I don't know. Whatever. Ooh, 7 minutes before midnight. 2 minutes to midnight. Anyway, 7 minutes before midnight, last December 17th, a bomb of sorts went off in a high-voltage substation north of Kiev. Wow, this is kind of old, technically, but not really. But if you're standing outside the 20 acres of gleaming metal transformers and coils, you wouldn't have heard a bang or seen a flash. It wasn't that kind of bomb. It was a piece of malicious software that had been hiding in a control room computer miles away, waiting for the right time to reveal itself at 11:53 p.m. The logic bomb transmitted a staccato burst of pre-programmed commands to the substation, popping one circuit breaker after another until a strip of houses in and around western Kiev were plunged into darkness. Did it, cause the circuit breakers to pop?
It was popping them.
Probably because it would just flood power to certain things so you can do controllers or whatever, the electronic microcontrollers or something. Anyway, technicians responded to the Pivnikov substation and took the circuit breakers off computer control. There you go, restoring power a little after 1 a.m. It was only the second confirmed case of a computer attack triggering an electrical blackout. And compared to the first, 12 months earlier, also in the Ukraine, I just put all over myself, it was a fizzle, affecting far fewer customers and for a fraction of the time. In 6 months since the Kiev attack, security researchers have wondered why the hackers even bothered with such a fleeting disruption and speculated that someone was using the Ukraine as a testing ground for a more serious attack. Yes. The only problem with that, necessarily, is if you test something that big that people
No, keep reading. It gets worse.
No, it's going to do it. You test with something like that, eventually they'll be able to figure out why, and somebody will be able to produce a countermeasure to your shit. That's just
You'll see why in the article why a countermeasure would be difficult.
I doubt it. Anyway,
it's a fundamental attack on the structure.
Doubtful. Now the dark assessment seems to be confirmed. Researchers at 2 security companies on Monday announced that they finally found and analyzed malware that triggered the Kiev blackout. It's far worse than imagined. The computer code dubbed Crash Override, that's pretty funny. It's by Maryland-based Dragos, and In Destroyer by ESET in Slovakia is a genuine cyber weapon that can map out a power station's control network and with minimal human guidance issue malicious commands directly to critical equipment. Only once before has the world seen malware designed for sabotage, with the 2010 Stuxnet virus, I remember that, used against Iran's nuclear program. Crash Override is the first to target U.S. civilians, and the first such malware built to target a nation's power supply. Okay, so what you're saying is that it uses some sort of, I don't know, maybe some sort of machine learning type capabilities.
So you just got to continue on, and it'll explain in great detail why it is so successful.
I'm talking about a little go through it, so fuck off. But yeah, it learns it learns, the power station's layout, and it learns what it needs to trigger, what it can't trigger, with apparently very minimal human, which is interesting. It would be interesting for somebody to produce actually eventually a fully autonomous virus such as that, or malware, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I don't think it's... I'm not sure if that's actually malware. I think that would be more like a virus level. Because it's more serious.
Malware refers to all types.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I thought there was actually a technical difference between malware and virus. What was that?
No.
What did you drop again? Oh, was that your
chunkless.
shoes? Yeah, chunkless. Yep. It's unclear who created Crash Override. It just sounds like a fucking video game. I'm sorry. I can't help but
It's a
laugh
social
at it.
justice network.
Is it?
Yep, the Crash Override network.
Lord have mercy. Anyway, both ESET and Dragos say it was built from scratch, obviously, leaving none of the usual fingerprints allowing analysts to link one hacking campaign to another. Ooh, that's interesting. Ukraine has faced a near-biblical plague of cyber attacks since entering into hostilities with Russia 3 years ago, and may have led unequivocally to Moscow, but not so with Crash Override. Well, I mean, maybe it's Russian hackers. I mean,
it wouldn't surprise me if it was Russia.
Oh yeah, I mean, Russia would be the only people that would continually fuck.
Because, I mean, who gives a damn about Ukraine but Russia?
Yeah. The only thing that's certain, says security researcher Robert Lee, CEO of Dragos, is that the malware wasn't built as a one-time weapon. It's designed from the ground up to be easily reconfigured for a variety of targets and contains some payloads that weren't even fired off in the Kiev attack. It's a nightmare, Lee said. The malware in its current state would be usable for every power plant in Europe. This is a framework designed to target other places.
I mean, just imagine this malware could take down whole countries in a single keystroke.
I don't think...
I mean, you could have all of Europe under your control.
I don't think so necessarily. I'm sure there's plans in place to stop that, and there's certain things that can't be computerized.
Yeah, but I mean, it could wipe out power for millions.
Yeah, it could wipe out maybe potentially for a lot of people, but
I mean, consider it. I mean, if the malware obviously will probably check into some server to make sure it's receiving commands. But just imagine, if they wait a year and this software gets on, a couple hundred different things.
And people just forget about it.
And then nobody notices it because it doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, 7 minutes to midnight, it simultaneously strikes and takes down half the country's electrical grid.
See, that would have been one of the only perks about that job. It would have been cool to learn about stuff like this.
And then what do you do? I mean, what do you do when half your country no longer has power?
You just do what they did. You just switch it off.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
manually do everything.
You'd have to go to each of these command stations, wherever they are, across the country.
It depends on how it's set up.
Yes, it depends on how it's set up, but I'm just saying.
But like I said, there's also some level of stuff where there's probably not as much.
Yeah, some level, but it's still there. I think it's still controlling core key parts of the electrical infrastructure and grid. I'm just saying.
Like I said, not necessarily. I think key core parts wouldn't be computer controlled.
I think core parts would be. Specifically core parts.
I don't know.
I would think
that's why this is only on a substation. Substation's not really big deal.
No, it's not. Well, it's the substation's controlled by a main control station. That's what it is. All these substations, this is a substation that was attacked, but multiple substations were controlled from the main control station.
Oh yeah, that's pretty normal. Yeah.
So that's how this works.
Yeah.
That's how current electrical grids work.
Yes, but it doesn't also mean that they can shut off something. It's not like there's actually a movie about this. To be honest, there's a movie about this. It's called, I believe it's Fire Sale. But anyway, or no, actually, wait. The movie that's about this is fucking goddamn it, the most recent. What's that movie? McClane.
Die Hard?
Yes, it's the most recent Die Hard movie. Had this exact scenario being played out by hackers in a nutshell. But it's not all like that. There's, like I said, there's a certain level of stuff that has to be physical and is probably not controlled by computers. Sure, like you're saying, I don't think maybe necessarily that many people, but I think a lot of people would lose stuff.
It took out power to over 250,000 people.
Did it?
In that Ukrainian.
Is that what it said? It just said a couple neighborhoods. It didn't say how many. See? Until a strip of houses. That's all it says.
It says strip of houses in and around Western Kiev. I could have sworn it said somewhere that there was people that were...
Anyway, I'm going to carry on.
Yes, please continue.
ESET was the first to find samples of the malware, and the company shared its initial analysis with Dragos. which went on to find additional samples and new components of the code. Electric utilities throughout the United States and Canada were alerted to the new malware last week by the North American Electric Reliability Corp. That's who I answer to. The industry group responsible for power grid security. And there you go. It's NERC. That's what it was called. I was trying to remember the term for it. It's NERC. NERC. We believe that our current protective measures provide an initial barrier, said Marcus Sachs, NERC's chief security officer, and we are providing additional technical information to the North American utilities specific to this malware. I wonder if I would have had to worry about this. Crash overhead marks a significant escalation in the economic arms race at a time of overt cyber rattling from U.S. adversaries like Russia and North Korea, and increasingly loud warnings about the vulnerability of the power grid. Last January, the Department of Energy assessed that the U.S. now faces imminent danger of a cyber attack that would trigger a prolonged cascading outage that would undermine U.S. lifeline networks, critical defense infrastructure, and much of the economy. It would also endanger the health and safety of millions of citizens. Well, yeah. That'd be an interesting...
I told you, man.
It'd be
It
interesting.
has the potential to...
It does have the potential, but like I said, it's not everywhere. Now, if they get something like that into the biggest of people that even control power to the lower tier, not even substations, but like, for instance, my electric company, like if they lost the power from whoever they get it from, that'd be a problem. However, we live in a specific area that I think most of our power comes from SCP and is rerouted to Houston and comes back or something like that.
Yeah.
We don't get it directly. It goes over somewhere.
But we don't.
I don't know why that's that.
But I mean, because of that, there's probably measures in place that if the grid in Houston was attacked and taken out, it might have the potential to actually isolate our city. I don't know how that works.
See, I'm not on city power grid, so I don't give a fuck. But
You are now.
No, I'm not. Well,
Here?
I can just go to my other house. Although,
I suppose the Jackson Electric...
that's how the power usually works. Like, power goes out in the city, and we never lose power out there. It's pretty nice. However... But anyway, some off-screen discussion there. Lee says Crash Override is built to cause regional outages and in its current form doesn't have the capability to cascade on the order of 2003 Northeast U.S. blackout, nor to be easily repurposed to target other industrial control systems like water treatment plants or gas pipelines. With the amount of expertise and resources that went into creating the program, augurs... I've never even actually seen that word, to be honest. Even more dangerous malware to come. What makes this thing a holy crap moment in the understanding of grid is the understanding of grid operations encoded within it, he said. Well, yeah, that's basically what I was saying, is that it understands so much, or it knows what to look for, specifically like on a semi-intelligence level, but not really. That's what's interesting to me. Stands out to me as a computer person. I'm not 100% on how all the machine learning shit works at the moment, but that is a big craze. So something like this that would be able to like be unleashed into a system and be able to learn and adapt.
This isn't learning and adapting. This is just like doing a network scan, seeing what's on the network, and then if it meets a pre-listed, set of controls and commands, then it targets those applicable. It's not machine learning. It's just a program.
Well, what if it could? That would be much worse.
Yes, but it's not.
This is the understanding. I mean, this is probably like somebody that worked in the power field probably built this.
Yeah,
honestly.
no, so definitely somebody with insider knowledge, somebody close to understanding how the technology works, and what it takes to operate an electrical grid. Absolutely.
All right. So, but yeah, as I was saying, and as it says, it's only built with the regional outages, and it currently cannot start a cascade for the entire.
It doesn't mean that it couldn't be. Currently,
it says it doesn't have it. So
it doesn't. It doesn't mean it couldn't be modified. Because,
like it says, eventually.
I mean, a lot of money.
That's because the code targets a crucial technology called SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition. A SCADA network is essentially an electronic nerve system that allows operators to remotely monitor and control all the pumps, motors, relays, valves, and that undergirds society's infrastructure. The technology grew out of the electric industry beginning in the 1940s. Nice. As a solution to the growing complexity of power distribution, which requires constant monitoring and adjustment of equipment at thousands of substations scattered around the country. Rather than keep technicians at every site, utilities began connecting substation equipment to meters and knobs and centralized control centers. First by wire, later by radio, today by over serial ports and digital networks, with graphical computer controls in placing meters and knobs. Yeah, it's like the same thing with plants. Everything is mostly digital. That's just kind of standard. Anyway, as products of a more innocent time, the major SCADA protocols were never designed for security. Whoops. We use the term insecure by design. God damn it, guys. Said veteran SCADA security guru Dale Peterson. You can switch relays on and off without any authentication. Everything an attacker would want is a documented feature of the device. By the 1990s, the U.S. was eyeing SCADA as a potentially critical vulnerability. In 1997, President Bill Clinton ordered a risk assessment of the power grid, and his advisors found it riddled with holes, including equipment reachable through corporate networks and open dial-up modems. Wow, that's interesting. The electric industry has been developing and enforcing strict security standards ever since. With the entry of nation-state cyber attacks, the risks have only grown, and the industry now regards cyber blackouts as something to plan for. Like the inevitable outages triggered by extreme weather, the key, said NERC's Sachs, is to ensure rapid restoration should an outage occur, regardless of the cause. Well, yeah, that's true. The gloomy outlook owes much of the first Ukrainian power hack in December 2015, and that attack, intruders used conventional hacking tools and techniques to seize the Windows machines in the utility control room, where they dragged the mouse cursor across the screen. I can find this funny. And clicked on the controls for a trio of local substations. The resulting blackout, this is the one you were talking about, but this wasn't even this thing. It was just people taking manual control and doing it. The resulting blackout left 225,000 people without power. Ukrainian security services attributed the attack to Russia. That's still pretty funny, though. While successful, that attack suffered from a critical weakness from a cyber warfare perspective. It didn't scale. The hack required manual effort by a control system expert sitting at a keyboard. That limitation is obliterated by crash override, which once it is configured and deployed, operates invisibly and automatically at the lowest levels of a plant network. The code used in Kiev included swappable modules for 4 SCADA protocols prevalent in Europe. When the proper module is activated, it runs under the same name of the legitimate Windows process controlling equipment at the remote substation. Crash override kills the original program and starts issuing its own commands over the SCADA link, cycling through a range of circuit breaker addresses and systematically tripping each of them, and then starting again at the top. Even if the control center is able to send its own commands to restore the circuit, crash override will just hit the breaker again, running continuously in an infinite loop like it's a pop-up on a website where you close it and it just keeps opening again. That's why they're doing the circuit breakers. Pearson said that he expects crash override to inspire copycat efforts, particularly among nation-state attackers, to see something that's been predicted for so long actually happen. More people will think they should be doing it. If we haven't had enough of a wake-up call already, this is it, said Dragos Joe Slowick, who helped analyze the code. The time is running out until someone either gets lucky or deliberately targets a network that all U.S. citizens care about instead of saying, oh, it's Ukraine, who cares? Ha! I love that reaction that we said. Are you hosting Crucifix?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. You're not even hosting us when we're live? What's wrong with you?
I have it set to host random.
Oh, random?
Yeah.
Is that an option?
Mm-hmm.
Mine just hosting a list?
Yeah, you can choose to host random.
Oh. Interesting. But yeah, it's basically it.
Mm-hmm.
For that specifically. I think everything else is just crap we were looking at. So we can move on to the U.S. news. Click.
Okay, a lot of enhancing to do on this one.
Hmm?
I said a lot of enhancing to do on this one.
More on the defense chief one.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Enhance or not?
Yeah, no, it didn't work for me for a second.
It's because everything else is still enhanced.
Yeah,
Super enhanced.
Defense chief shocked by poor state of U.S. combat readiness. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis declared Monday that he was shocked upon his return to the Pentagon by the poor state of U.S. military's readiness for combat. He puts most of the blame on Congress for its inability to approve budgets on time or repeal a law that strictly limits defense spending. Testifying before the House Armed Services Committee, Mattis said Congress has sidelined itself of its active constitutional oversight role by failing to deliver a steady stream of funding to pay for new weapons and other critical gear. It has blocked new programs, prevented service growth, stalled industry initiative, and placed troops at greater risk. Mattis said as he urged the panel to do away with the Budget Control Act of 2011. If the budget caps mandated by the law are breached, automatic spending reductions, known as sequestration, are triggered. For all of the headaches caused by the loss of our troops during these wars, no enemy in the field has done more to harm the readiness of our military than sequestration. Mattis, who retired from the military service in 2013 as a 4-star general. Mattis appeared before the committee along with Marine Corps General Joseph Dunford, the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, to field questions from lawmakers on President Trump's proposed military budget for 2018 fiscal year, which begins October 1st. Trump has requested $639 billion for the Pentagon, including $65 billion alone on ongoing military operations. Yet, Republican lawmakers are pressing for upwards of $30 billion more to be added to the budget. They argue the extra money is needed to rebuild the military. Now, if I may pause here, what does the military need to be rebuilt from? Has something deconstructed the military between, the past 15 years? I don't know, David. Has anything deconstructed the military?
That's what I know of. As far as I know, it still functions.
Exactly. As far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure the military is as big as it's ever been.
Actually bigger.
Bigger.
It's the biggest, I believe. Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to we need to rebuild the military. Rebuild what?
Well, maybe if they stopped using so much money for R&D and giving it to other companies and, gave the actual budget to the military. Everyone's complaining about people wanting better wages, for burger flippers for $15 an hour or whatever. And then people are like, well, the military men don't make money. Well, yeah. They could be making better money. There's a shit ton of, how much is the percentage of American money that goes into the military specifically? All the military? A large? I know it's a large percentage.
It's at least, I think it's about half discretionary spending.
Something like that. I mean, we can look up. Let's just look at it.
I mean, we outspend the next 11 countries.
All right, so here's the thing. How's the community? Let's see where's the biggest. Social Security, unemployment rate, medical health. Holy shit. Wow, we actually spend more in things that are useful. That's interesting. That was in 2015. So, all right. We actually
but the thing about Social Security is that Social Security...
It's paid for by everybody, technically.
Yeah, exactly. It already has billions of dollars, trillions even, already in it.
Yeah.
And it's just spending out of that.
Yeah. So that's fine. Okay, so the military is $600 billion. All right, that's cool. 610 here. This is in 2015. This is
look at that education budget. $100 billion.
The education budget's actually pretty bad.
Environment
and energy is actually really bad too. Science is the worst. Wow.
Yeah, that's probably NASA's budget in there.
Yep.
Not all
All right, so,
NASA
so
does that
technically,
happen.
with the military is combined, like veterans benefits, and veterans benefits are pretty large. That's good stuff.
4%.
Yeah, well, fully in here, 60% goes to the military. Okay. So anyway, $609 billion goes to the military, but it's spent on
Shit.
mostly
Useless
R&D. I don't know how much of
Yeah,
that.
I don't think it really is.
Well, it's mostly R&D, and it mostly goes to like third-party contractors, as far as I know.
Let's see, U.S. military budget. Can I get a breakdown? And I can. Ooh, really nice budget.
It's like basically the same thing. So I'm gonna click that. I just clicked the graph. Oh man, the graph is terrible.
The graph is terrible.
640 billion.
Actually, mine's not that bad.
Where's that?
It's a little pie chart right there.
Right there. This one. Boop. Yeah. That's the same.
Actually,
Oh, there you go.
you don't even need the pie chart because it gives you an actual chart right there.
Mm-hmm.
Actually.
Yeah, but here's my fucking pie chart.
But it gives you percentages there. So, the Navy, surprisingly, gets 43% of the budget,
Really?
with the Army followed by 31%. And then the Air Force at 22%.
Oh, it's the entities that get in. Wow. Apparently the Marine Corps don't get shit.
Well, you also got to
budget
consider
taken allotted from
how many people are
Department
in the Marine Corps.
Huh?
Said how many people are in the Marine Corps compared to other departments.
A decent number. I mean, the Marines are smaller than the Army, but they're generally supposed to be better.
They have 182,000 active members.
And the Army has more. I think the Army has the most.
Versus,
Navy has like.
Let's see, because the Navy is about equivalent to that. So let's see, the Navy has. It doesn't say here.
Defense intelligence. Because of classified nature, budget is an estimate and may not be the actual figure. That's funny. Defense-wide joint activities.
Yeah, that's like activities with other nations and such.
Hmm.
Do we have a number on the military? We do not. Okay, for some reason we know the exact numbers on the Marine Corps, but not any other.
No, you don't know. The Army.
Anyways, but yeah, I mean that's interesting to see because as of a percentage,
The Army is
R&D
large.
is extremely small.
Yep.
R&D is about, I'd say, 15%.
On this pie chart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's in 2010.
Yeah, but I mean that's still it's still pretty relevant.
7 years
add
off,
up those
man.
numbers. Add up those numbers.
What?
Actually, it says right here, total spending is 610 billion.
Hmm.
So basically, what the budget is what it is, and probably hasn't really changed much realistically.
Look at how much operations and maintenance cost. What?
That's like people. That's payroll probably.
No, because that would
It's
be personnel.
Actually, it's operations and maintenance. So I guess. No, even procurement, because procurement would be like tanks and weaponry.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just maintaining.
Family housing costs absolutely nothing.
Costs $3 billion.
Well, it's because of all that's like out of the cost of all the military men they pay for. Military construction, I don't know what the hell that. I guess it's
Like whenever we go
construction
build
bases.
things and such.
I guess it's generic construction bases.
But
What the fuck is
operations-
operations and maintenance for? I guess that might be just the maintenance of the vehicles and everything they have
Yeah, possibly.
instead of procurement. But I still figure.
I mean, actually, you can see here's the actual 2016 budget.
Mm-hmm. Still feel like that would be a procurement thing.
Yeah. I mean, like getting planes and shit, I would expect to be under procurements. I would think operations and is that operations and maintenance?
Mm-hmm.
I guess like upkeep of all the different things: cars, vehicles, planes, etc.
I mean, here's all the budget requests in 2011 for all these programs. It just add Pack 3, Virginia class submarine, brigade combat team modernization. It's interesting. DDG 51 Burke class Aegis destroyer. Hey, look, it's Aegis destroyers. P-80 A5 Poseidon. What is that? I don't know what that is. Oh, it's those. Time control squadron, flying over
The big boy plane.
God damn it. Anti-surface warfare, anti-submarine warfare,
Apparently it's operated by the
shipping
US Navy.
interdiction, early warning, self-protection ability, otherwise known as electronic support measures. Oh, it's got ESM, that's interesting. Involves carrying torpedoes, depth charges, harpoon anti-ship missiles, and other weapons. Is able to drop and monitor sonobuoys. Designed to operate in conjunction with the Northrop Grumman MQ-4C Triton broad area maritime surveillance unmanned aerial vehicle.
Anyways,
That's an unmanned vehicle.
we've gone so far off topic.
Wow, that is it's a like predator that monitors things. That's interesting.
Anyways, so
Pretty cool
do
stuff.
they need an additional $30 billion?
Eh.
I mean, they've been running fine the last 7 years,
Oh, it's another predator drone.
I'd say.
Another Osprey.
And then it says here,
program.
we have spent 6 years just getting by. If $600 billion is getting by, I don't want to know what your budget looks like on doing great. Because if you can't get by with $600 billion, there's something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And asking more and more of those who serve and putting off the choices that have to be made, said Representative Mac Thornberry. You're ruining the Thornberry name.
What is the Thornberry name anyway?
From Nigel Thornberry. And
That's what I figured you were going with there. I forgot what that cartoon was called. Thornberries, actually, I think.
Yeah, the Wild Thornberries.
Yeah, Wild Thornberries, yeah.
That was a good show.
Yeah. Oh, honey, I can't see out mine. Move your hand, Nigel. Fucking Nigel. Smashing. As everyone knows them from the internet meme now, but yeah. Smashing.
During the wide-ranging hearing, Mattis sought congressional approval to shutter excess military bases, a move the Pentagon concludes will save billions of dollars, but one that lawmakers have previously rejected. I am for closing excess military bases.
Yeah, we do need to close military bases. We honestly should just, back the fuck out of a lot of places and stop trying to be the world police. Man, we should have stopped doing that a long time ago. Then we could have actually cut the military's budget, reassigned budget to other places while keeping everyone paid the same.
Holy shit.
Huh?
We have more than 800 military bases.
Yeah, that's
in
why that
70
operations
countries.
and maintenance category is so big, because we're paying for, space in other countries and all sorts of other shit.
Ranging from giant little Americas to small radar facilities. Britain, France, and Russia, by contrast, have 30 combined.
Wow.
We outnumber member nations and enemy nations to the tune of literally hundreds.
Yep, because we are Team America, world police.
We don't need 800 military bases. We don't need 400.
America! Fuck yeah! Anyway, that's basically what it amounts to, is that stupid claymation thing made by the South Park people. Yeah, it's just somebody came and said some stupid shit that I don't understand.
I mean, honestly, they could probably cut down the bases to 200. Still be in all 70 damn countries. And still be fine. And it would cut the budget by billions.
Probably. Yep. But when we leave these bases, we should strip them of all of our shit. Unlike, the ISIS thing. Unless the ISIS happen again.
Literally, in Iraq, right before the war ended, they had just finished building a multi-$100-million operations facility in Iraq. Mm-hmm. In the middle of a goddamn desert.
Yep.
When the war ended, it had never been used. When the war ended, that building was never used, and it was left empty. Everything in it as it was. Things pristinely set. Because U.S. military, everyone. Mm-hmm. And listen, I would hope we would take everything. I would expect us to. Either that or we'd sell it to the host country.
Why would you? But then you give them our technology and our stuff.
We sell our technology and our stuff to plenty of nations. We sell it to Saudi Arabia.
There's some things in our
and they're freaking, they behead people. and kill non-believers and atheists, and they have Sharia law, and you can't drink there or smoke there. Or...
See, again, I say we just build walls around the entirety of the Bible Belt, and then just, like, let them go to town. We turned it into PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and let them fight it out.
Every few days, the walls just move in.
Yeah, it could be like the Combine from Half-Life. It's a moving wall that moves inward. It just destroys everything. Coining it, selling it. It'll be used with my giant robot force. Yes. Oh.
Mattis proposed a new round of base closing starting in 2021. He said the department currently has more infrastructure capacity than required for operations.
No shit.
That outlook won't change even if the service branches grow in size, he said. Closing the unneeded bases would save $10 billion over a 5-year period.
That's very low, like, compared to this entire thing.
Yeah, I mean, compared to operations and maintenance, which was $300 billion.
Yeah, about $300 billion.
Which could be used to acquire 4 nuclear submarines or dozens of fighter jets. GOP-led Congress rebuffed the Obama administration's request to reduce the number of military bases. The Army and Air Force said they had vastly more space for training and basing troops than they needed, and trimming the surplus would generate savings that could be used to strengthen the military.
So even the Army and the Air Force says that.
But lawmakers have refused to go along, questioning the data and the analysis the Pentagon used to make its arguments for fewer facilities.
Well,
military installations are
saying they need fewer facilities. Pentagon is the place where all the military leaders go. That is where they all are.
That is their job, is to coordinate the military in all branches.
It's so stupid they went and listened to the people that run the military.
It's like it says in the next line. Military installations are prized possessions in congressional districts.
Why?
Because it always sounds good to have a military base in your district. You know, we got Fort Hood, not our district, but it's in Texas.
Yeah.
It's one of the largest bases in the country.
Fort Hood is Austin.
Somewhere there.
No, Fort Hood is Austin. Is the base in Austin. There's one in Houston. I forget which that one is. There's bases everywhere. Most of the major Texas cities. There's an Air Force base in Corpus, I think.
Mm-hmm. There is.
Yeah. So yeah, there's bases everywhere. It's important. There's some sort of base, Naval Air Force Army base in Houston. That Fort Hood's Army base. There's actually any place where the National Guard meets. Like any of those spots, there's bases. I mean, there's a armory. They meet at armories and stuff too.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, like last year, or was it 2 years ago now? Somewhere about there. Congress was going to approve, and I'm not sure if they ever did or not, new tanks. Hundreds of new tanks, which would have given, I don't know, Honeywell, Northrop Grumman, GE, one of those companies, huge contract to make them. And all the heads of the military pretty much agreed, we don't need new tanks, we have enough. There's literally a whole, waste yard in the desert filled with hundreds of brand new, never used tanks.
Actually, and they're still rolling off the production line every day, I believe.
Yeah. That nobody needed, nobody wanted, nobody can use them, but it made somebody money. And that somebody gave money to Congress. And it's like, oh, here's money there, here's money there, here's money there, and here's a bill your committee should pass. And they'd be like, oh, I could always use that donation. Sign it off. And the military is like, we don't need it. It's like, you're going to do it anyways. And you're going to buy from these people. So what the fuck's going on here? Somebody's making money for something, and they don't want it to cut. They don't want it to close.
Pretty much. Man, I should go find the desert and just go grab one of those.
I'm sure it's probably on some kind of military base. Probably well protected.
I don't know. It's just a giant empty place. I mean, I'm sure it's in, well protected, double fenced area, but it's a fucking tank. Besides, I could always go to the, airplane graveyards or tank graveyards over there in, the Mojave Desert area and just go, build me a tank from scratch.
Like that.
I don't know if that's it. Those are old. Those are other things. Those are old as shit. Those are Russian.
These are hidden Soviet tanks. German tanks. Let's see, 10 of the mightiest tank graveyards and abandoned vehicles in the world. Ottoburn.
That's just all the dead tanks in the world. No, there's a... I saw a post about it the other day. My sister tagged something in it on the Facebooks. Where did you type it? Army. Just type in United States. It's not even. Don't type graveyard. Graveyard is not the correct term for it. I don't know Google Man. Just get that Google food going.
Army tank with storage. Good old Sierra Army Depot.
Is that what it is? I think him with the Sahara Army Depot. Yeah, it's the video that says the world's largest M1 stockpile, but those aren't all M1s. Those are a lot of different tanks and vehicles right there. Picture man.
Yeah, right here. Here's a story from CNN. It says, if you need an example of why it's hard to cut the budget in Washington, look no further than this army depot in the shadow of the Sierra Nevada range. CNN was allowed access to what amounts to a parking lot for more than 2,000 M1 Abrams tanks. Here is about an hour drive north of Reno, Nevada. The tanks have been collecting dust in a hot California desert because of a tiff between the Army and Congress. Congress has more than enough combat tanks in the field to meet the nation's defense needs, so there's no sense in making repairs to these now, says Army Chief of Staff. Told Congress earlier this year, which was a few years ago. If the Pentagon holds off repairing, refurbishing, or making new tanks for 3 years until new technologies are developed, the Army can save taxpayers as much as $3 billion. That may seem like a lot of money, but it's a tiny sacrifice for the Defense Department's, $600 billion budget. Apparently, for one, the U.S., why is it a big deal? The U.S. hasn't stopped producing tanks since before World War II. Plus, from the point of view of the Army, which would prefer to decide what it needs and doesn't need to keep America strong while making tough economic cuts elsewhere. Well, when a relatively conservative institution like the U.S. military, which doesn't like to take risks because risks get people killed, says it has enough tanks, I think generally civilians should be inclined to believe them.
I remember, this is the one I was talking about, the airplane boneyard in the Mojave Desert. I was trying to find that one that you're talking about. That's cool, I didn't know these are things. Logistics and these actual, they're giant water tanks, water bladders that are just all, plastic. Kind of cool. Yeah, no, I couldn't find the actual picture. But I've seen it. It's like a desert picture or so.
And see, this is exactly what... If the U.S. pauses tank production and refurbishment, it will hurt the nation's industrial economy.
Oh, it will. It will hurt the nation's industrial economy.
But you know what they need to do?
But it needs to be stopped anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if it hurts it. I mean, yeah, people are going to lose their jobs. There's a lot of repercussions here. But shit's got to stop anyway. You can't, you can't keep producing these things.
This is just wasting money. This is wasting billions of dollars, literally billions of dollars over something that nobody needs, nobody wants, except for congressmen and their donors and their constituents.
What's funny is I don't think nobody need them. I don't think they don't want them. I don't think they're.
No, they say here. They said they don't need them.
I don't think they don't necessarily want them because they're useful, but I don't even think some people that need tanks actually get them when they're supposed to. Thanks, but no tags. Ha ha ha! Play on words. Good job, CNN.
Anyways, okay, I'm done with this story.
But yeah, that's basically that. I looked into a couple things. Can't post out on a story. That's fine. All right. Let's get out of here. Reuters TV. Fuck off. U.S. not winning in Afghanistan, Defense Secretary tells Congress. I'm going to stop real quick and say, all right, So here's the deal. You can't win against terrorism. Terrorism is not something you can actually fight. It is an idea. You don't win against it.
Unless you have a better idea.
Well, we do have a better idea. That's the whole point. But you don't stop them by killing them. You only create more of them, technically. Because what happens is a lot of people are indiscriminately killed. Therefore, the people that are surviving after, like, say, an area gets bombed and their families get killed, they just turn to the side of the terrorists because terrorists can arm them, and then they'll fight against, say, the U.S. because we killed them. I mean, it's just...
if you kill a man's brother for doing nothing more but being out in a field, picking crops or whatever, he's going to have some resentment against you for killing his family.
Yeah. Or on the other opposite side of the spectrum. For instance, some terrorist person kills an American, dude's father or whatever. And then he's like, I'm going to join the army and I'm going to go home. Woo! So then they do. I mean, that's just... I don't know. Humans are dumb, basically. And the people in the Middle East have a lot, dumber morals, or a lot sillier morals. I mean, at least over here, you have people that can sometimes forgive. It depends on what level, how it's done, or whatever. But I mean, there's certain casualties of war. And honestly, on both sides, more of their side, we're killing more innocent people than they're killing, because we don't have families and stuff over there as much as up on bases or something.
I mean, in the Iraq War, we killed over 250,000 civilians. Between 250,000 and 500,000.
Killed a ton of people. Our people killed a ton of people. And
so,
even if our military hadn't killed them,
apart,
it was our third-party contractors, the PMCs, that nobody even knows how many they've killed total because nobody can keep track of them. They keep track of that stuff themselves.
If they keep track at all.
They don't. That's the thing. The people themselves who do the killing do. Some of them
Blackwater.
do. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Blackwater. Who's now not Blackwater. I forget what they are now.
Academy.
They're what?
Academy?
Let's see what their name is now. Because they've gone through 20 different name changes. It's Academy. Yeah. Academy.
It's Academy. Click on that.
Which one? That one? The Wikipedia?
Academy.
Academy or Academy?
It's renamed as Z Services.
Renamed. Oh. This American Prime Minister no France as Blackwater, renamed as Z Services, is now known as Academy Services. And Academy in 2011. It was acquired by a group of private investors. His employees were convicted of killing 14 Iraqi civilians in Niskar of Baghdad, of which 4 guards were convicted in a U.S. court. So see, it's that. But it happens a lot. I mean, it happens. It's just... a part of the problem is it happens in war. You just kind of...
No, these people were just in, a freaking square, like a market square.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's part of the thing is it happens sometimes. People get caught in crossfire.
No, there wasn't anything going on, I don't think, if memory serves.
I don't know.
Probably has something about it.
I don't care enough. I'm going to continue carrying the story. Alright, scroll down. Fantastic. No! I gotta carry on the story. We're already off topic a shit ton. But yes, basically them. I just wanted to see what their name was now, because they've gone through so many name changes. The United States is not winning the war against Taliban insurgents in Afghanistan. I actually hadn't heard Taliban in forever. It's all ISIS now. But either way, Defense Secretary Jim Mathis told Congress on Tuesday, promising to brief lawmakers on a new war strategy by mid-July that is widely expected to call for thousands more U.S. troops. What? The answer is to throw more people at them? No. Guys, Mathis, I thought you were, more intelligent than that, at least. More reasonable. The remarks were a blunt reminder of the gloom underscoring U.S. military assessments of the war between the U.S.-backed Afghan government and the Islamist militant group, classified by the U.S. commanders as a stalemate, despite almost 16 years of fighting. Because of, what did I say? You can't kill an idea. The whole war on terrorism is a fucking joke, in of itself.
It's like the war on drugs. You see how well that's working.
The war on drugs is also a joke because CIA imports a shit ton of drugs, which we went over. That's still the thing. Anyway, we're not winning in Afghan right now, and we will correct this as soon as possible, Mattis said in testimony to the State Armed Services Committee. Mattis acknowledged that he believed the Taliban were surging at the moment, something he said he intended to address. Some U.S. officials questioned the benefit of sending more troops to Afghanistan because any politically palatable number would not be enough to turn the tide, much less stability and security. To date, more than 2,300 Americans have been killed and more than 17,000 wounded since the war began in 2001. The Afghan government was assessed by the U.S. military to control or influence just 59.7% of Afghan's 407 districts as of February 20th, a nearly 11% point decrease from the same time in 2016. According to data released by the U.S. Special Inspector General for Afghan Reconstruction. Interesting one.
So, apparently, let's see where was it? Under the United Nations law, under international law, it's actually illegal to use mercenaries.
It's legal or illegal?
Illegal.
Really?
But, like many things the United States does not agree with, the United States is not a signatory of the 1998 UN Mercenary Convention banning the use of mercenaries, nor is it a signatory of the 1977 addition to the Protocol of the 1949 Geneva Convention.
Wait, we didn't sign the Geneva Convention?
It's an addition to the Geneva Convention.
Oh, what edition is it? What specific one is that?
It says in which it specifies that mercenaries are civilians who take a direct part in the hostilities, and are motivated to take part in hostilities essentially by the desire for private gain, which basically lists what's a mercenary.
That is what a mercenary is,
yes.
Yeah.
And then outlaws it. But we don't sign those things.
So basically we have mercs able... I mean, that's a part of being a capitalist economy. If you want to turn it into a job in the lucrative business, go right ahead and do it.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the countries that sign these conventions... Interesting. Countries with large militaries that have not ratified the convention include China, France, India, Japan...
That have or have not?
Have not.
So
Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States.
So most of the countries didn't. Most of the reasonable, first world countries didn't.
There's a lot more first world countries than that.
Yeah, I know, but most of the ones that have a military of decent size or decent standing didn't.
Which says that a mercenary is a person who is A, specifically recruited locally or abroad in order to fight in an armed conflict, B, is motivated to take part in the hostilities essentially by the desire for private gain, in fact is promised or on behalf of a party to the conflict material compensation substantially in excess of that promised or paid to combatants of similar rank. C, is neither a national of a party to the conflict nor a resident of the territory controlled by a party. D, is not a member of the armed forces of a party to the conflict. And E, has not been sent by a state which is not a party to the conflict on official duty as a member of its armed forces. Mm-hmm. A mercenary is also any person who, in any other situation, is specifically recruited locally or abroad for the purpose of participating in a concerted act of violence aimed at overthrowing a government, or otherwise undermining constitutional order, or undermining the territorial integrity of a state. So essentially, Russia has hired mercenaries in Crimea.
Yeah. I can totally
And let's see, lots of countries like Italy signed it, they're a major nation. Ukraine has signed it apparently. Germany signed it. Romania signed it. Poland. Let's see.
But all these countries
Georgia,
don't even
Saudi
have
Arabia.
use for their militaries in the first place.
Germany has a solid military.
New
Zealand.
Not anymore.
Cuba. Canada. Syria, that's interesting, with reservations.
So Syria actually signed it?
Apparently so. Syria signed it, yeah. In 2008.
Yeah, but Syria's not doing fighting anywhere. The fighting's in Syria.
No, but I'm just saying is that...
And American allies are able to use them.
I mean, a lot of countries have signed it.
Not a lot. I mean, not a lot of the countries that I would think have big... Like I said, most people that actually have decent militaries didn't sign it. I mean, does Italy even have a military?
Of course, all nations have a military.
I mean, but is it even a thing? Is it even real? Can it hold a candle to anything? I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Most of those countries don't have anything left. Germany has military, I don't think, really exists as much either. I mean, our military industrial complex is retarded, so, that's why we didn't sign it, obviously.
Yeah, but I mean...
probably the same thing.
There's nothing that... We should have signed this.
Why? Why should we have signed it?
Because we shouldn't be using mercenaries to do...
Why does it matter if we use
mercenaries? Because mercenaries aren't bound by the laws and, rules and such by the nations. I mean, at least our army is responsible and applicable to our nation versus a contractor which can go in and indiscriminately kill civilians and then just
Well,
escape.
they're still subject to law. I mean, obviously those
people got convicted, but there are more.
But
there
here's
are
the thing: is
dozens, hundreds of others
the
that
same
don't.
thing happens with the military. You don't understand.
Yeah, the same thing may happen, but it's our military, and it's directly under the oversight of the military people.
They're usually given the orders by military people, but none of those people get charged with anything. Like you're saying, they're not. The laws don't apply to them.
But I'm just saying. I mean, is there any reason that we should be using mercenaries?
There's not any reason. Oh, okay.
Is there any reason we should be using mercenaries?
Is there a reason that they would use mercenaries? You're damn right they would. Plausible deniability for companies.
Exactly, but that's
to
companies.
do spooky shit.
I'm talking about the American government.
No, that is what I'm talking about. Plausible deniability.
Exactly, which is why the U.S. government shouldn't be allowed to use mercenaries.
But that would be why they would use mercenaries.
They
That's the only reason why they would
to.
use it.
They shouldn't be allowed to.
Well, they didn't sign it, so they're doing.
I know they didn't sign it.
We're also the biggest nation in the world. Who's gonna say anything? Any of the other people would have said anything. What have we called? We would have called them fucking hypocrites.
So they could put sanctions against us.
Oh no. The United Nations is going to put sanctions against us. No,
Well, it's not the United Nations. It's the member nations within the United Nations.
No one's going to put sanctions against us. We're America. If they put sanctions on us, all we would do is import and export into our own military bases in our own country and not give a shit.
No, it would be a sanction against all commerce of normally particular ranges of things.
I don't think
For the
anybody
entire
would
nation.
do that. No nation has the balls to do that. That's a part of the United Nations.
I'm sure there probably has some.
No, because
Anyways,
we've never had.
continuing
We've done
on.
so much illegal shit. And we've never had sanctions put against us. We just put sanctions against other people. It's like we are the biggest kid in the playground, and people have allied themselves with us just because we are the biggest kid in the playground. And then, you got Russia over there. They're a pretty big kid, but we've got, 20 fucking little kids, and we have us. And then, so Russia fucking does something stupid. We beat the shit out of Russia.
Pickpocket gang.
Well, yeah, we beat the shit out of Russia, and then all the other kids start, throwing rocks or, dirt at Russia while it's on the ground. Basically, I mean, this is a good visual representation of this. And then that's it. And then Russia's like, we're going to put sanctions against you guys. And then everyone just turns around and just laughs at them because it's one fucking person versus the entire group. And none of the small people within that group, somebody might be like, hey, America, that's not okay. And we're just like, shut the fuck up. And then that's it. That is it.
That'd be Canada.
Canada, America's hat. Hey, can you guys not do that?
United States.
And then it's just like, no, we're going to do what we want. Okay. We're sorry.
Shut up, little brother.
Sorry, we brought it up, basically. But I mean, that's what it amounts to, is being the biggest power in the UN in general, one of the biggest, that everyone's on our side. Because if not, the ramifications behind that would be interesting. Although, if it does happen, that would be great. Because America would lose credibility, and America would lose, ffooting on a global scale if there were sanctions put against America. Mm-hmm. And then maybe people would actually be like, holy shit, America could be accountable for something. Maybe the entire world, maybe things would go slightly better if that happened. Maybe. Probably not, though. I don't see it happening. It requires an amount of testicular fortitude that nobody has except for Americans. Or Russia. But nobody listens to Russia because they're stupid. I mean, they fucked up their own shit too bad. And then North Korea has the balls to do that. But North Korea is also one of those little tiny guys. It's even smaller than Russia. So, yeah.
This is Russia, North Korea.
Pretty much. It's basically this. And then this is America. Or that's America.
This is America.
With a weird mechanized mechatronic arm. So there you go. It's basically like that.
Anyways.
Anyway.
You want to continue on from this or just go to the next one?
I was just going to continue on.
Because it's
this is the last.
11.
It's the last story of the night. As we went off on a couple tangents, we got the internet back working. Everything's great. Nobody's watching. Yes! Anyway.
Your statistics are dead? Yes!
A truck bomb explosion in Kabul last month killed more than 150 people, making it the deadliest attack in the Afghan capital since the Taliban were ousted in 2011 by a NATO-led coalition after ruling the country for 5 years. On Saturday, 3 U.S. soldiers were killed when an Afghan soldier opened fire on them in eastern Afghanistan. Reuters reported in late April that the administration of the U.S. President Donald Trump was carrying out a review of Afghanistan, and conversations were revolving around sending between 3,000 and 5,000 U.S. and coalition troops there. That's already been going around before Trump was even in office. That was when Obama was in office still. They were talking about doing that. Anyway, deliberations include giving more authority to forces on the ground and taking more aggressive action against Taliban offenders. Literally, raise your gun in the air. Woo! And just go ham. Probably. Senator John McCain, the chairman of the Senate's committee, pressed Mattis on the deteriorating situation, saying the United States has an urgent need for a change in strategy and an increase in resources if we are to turn the situation around. We don't need more resources. By resources, I mean people. I mean, they should go ham, probably. Just follow the Russian approach. Just kind of bomb everything and piss everybody off, I guess. I don't know. Since that's what they did fairly recently. Anyway, we recognize the need for urgency, Mattis said. Is that it? That was it. Alright, that's it. So yeah, as we just talked about, and everything, that's basically it. You just looking at stuff for you, or is that in our list?
Well, this is a part of our list. Yeah.
Is it really?
This is tech. Tesla's Model X, safest SUV ever tested, with a perfect 5-star safety rating. Of course,
Has
because
other things gotten perfect 5-star safety ratings?
Tesla Model S has actually gone above 5 stars.
Is that possible?
It is. But only on very special circumstances.
Now, a lot of things are 5-star safety rated from whatever the hell that is.
The National Highway Traffic.
Yeah,
but I mean, this is the first 5-star, total, perfect 5-star SUV. In each case, the SUV only received 4 stars, typically in rollover. But because the Model X has a heavy lithium battery pack on the bottom of the car that provides power, and thus forth has a much lower center of gravity than the typical SUV, it was first in its class to get 5 stars across the board.
So because it was an electric car and has electric car stuff, it basically inherently gets 5 stars. Which also means it's not going to roll over very well.
Tesla says those tests found that people inside a Model X have a 93% chance of walking away from an accident without serious injury, which would be the second highest on record, behind only the Tesla Model S. That's freaking crazy. So, shit, that means probably an accident going at 70 miles an hour. I'd say that's pretty serious. Maybe even 50, 60. Somewhere there. 93%. I'll take those odds.
I'll take the odds of just getting hit any day. I just hate them.
Model X starts at $82,000. Typically tops $100,000 with options.
Yes.
I wonder what the safety rating of the Model 3. Probably something similar. I don't imagine Tesla would manufacture it too much differently.
Alright. It's time to roll the outro, though.
So, we didn't cover not even half our stories.
We covered a couple things. We had a lot of networking difficulties in general, life difficulties. Life's a difficult challenge and fun thing. Tangents, yes. Still all fun, decent, reasonable. It's okay. I'm off for the next 2 weeks. So we're going to have good, happy, fun times. Last week will be good, I guess. You up for doing VR stuff tomorrow with Toes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Are you going to play from your house?
No. I don't have a room in my house.
Oh. So are you going to have to come over here and borrow a room then?
Probably.
Play in rooms, scale in other rooms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's beds in all your rooms.
Yeah, you could just throw them against the wall or something.
I suppose.
Something. I haven't even decided where I was going to set up. I'm probably in here. You can play in the tiled space right there. That'll be your play space.
I guess, but then there's... Yeah.
I don't know, I kind of wanted to use this and try to play with.
You should be able to use this entire space.
Well, the only thing that the only game that would change is if I used what was it? If we were playing Elite Dangerous, then I would use my stuff in there. Mm-hmm. My hotels and my sex chair. The amazing Obato, basically sex chair.
Okay, everybody, thank you for joining us. I know we had a bunch of technical difficulties today, and we will work on ironing those out.
Just like Kenneth's English.
Next next news stream next week.
Next Thursday, yes. What? I feel like there's something else to do. No, it's whatever.
So, this is your co-host, Reigning Death 909, known as Kenneth.
And this is your host, HoppyBrother_1, also known as David, signing off for the night. And we
have a good evening.
We'll probably be getting on to play games in a little bit. I have to move my setup. We'll probably sit here and talk for a little bit. But yeah, see you guys a little bit later for probably a couple hours, and then see you tomorrow.